Alright, hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Austin and this is All Things Unkempt. Today I'm working on a commission. I haven't had a commission for a drawing in a while. I've had a couple commissions for paintings, those aren't on this channel. But any more commissions I do in the future will end up on here. You know, it's good content, right? It's not something I would typically draw on my own. This is a cat of theirs or friends or something like that, and they wanted it done as a gift. I think that's super cool. I think gifts like this are great and they're pretty personal. It's a picture. I have a digital picture of it, of course, but even as a paper picture, it'll last forever, or a long time at least, I hope. Drawing this cat, I was a little bit challenged at first because it's a tuxedo cat, so it's just black and white. And when I draw, it's in black and white. So I was really worried that the cat would end up looking really flat or not furry enough. So some experimentation took place. I was up for the challenge and I enjoyed it. I really wanted, it was difficult because the cat's black fur is so dark that even from the reference pictures I had, it doesn't reflect light a whole lot, so you can't really see any difference in value, so it just looks flat. So that's, I guess that's where my job comes in. I had to make it look less flat, and I think I did a pretty good job. I wanted it to be really dark, so I actually ended up using charcoal and like a Conte crayon, which is just like compressed charcoal, I think, and is pretty much as dark as you can get. It is pretty waxy though, so it does end up being a little bit shiny in the light, but that's okay. Doing drawings like this is nice. It's a good stretch for my artistic skills because in a lot of drawings I do, a texture like fur, for instance, doesn't really come up very often, or at least I don't typically draw textures and stuff that look like fur. So I really enjoy taking kind of a hard right turn or left turn and drawing something that I wouldn't normally do. My first video actually on this channel is of my two cats, so if you would want to go check that out, you totally can. Just, beware, it's my first video, it's a little bit rough, but I love how that picture turned out too, and it's great. And those are different cats, so the values in them look pretty different. Drawing the cat, I discovered that a really great way to come up with a reference photo. So here, I'll start this over. The problem was I had some reference pictures, but none of them were quite in a position I wanted. And it's pretty difficult, at least for me, to just imagine the cat being in a different position and look at a reference where it's not in the position I'm drawing. So I actually ended up photoshopping a couple different pictures together, actually multiple pictures together, but we'll get to that later, just to get good positioning for the cat. There was one of the cat walking forward like it is in this picture, and then there was a separate picture with the cat looking more head-on as it is. So these are actually from two different reference photos, and if I hadn't have said that, I don't think anyone would have noticed. So it's my secret that's not a secret anymore. In drawing this cat, so I ended up doing it before I finished the editing on my last video, the clicker head. Go watch that if you're into zombies or mushrooms or The Last of Us. You'll enjoy that, I hope. So I haven't had to overlap my editing work schedule yet before. So I really wanted to get this done, and I honestly, again, really enjoyed drawing it, watching this cute little fuzzy creature come to life. So that ended up bogging down my editing time, and then I messed up some of my files on my computer and actually ended up deleting some pre-edited work I had made of the drawing and had to redo that. So that has nothing to do with this drawing, and that's just my own fault, but at least I was able to get that out, and that's up on the channel already. but it was a good challenge, again, drawing this. You can see just how dark this whole cat's head is, but I still wanted there to be a good separation between its head and the back of the body. I was worried that it would just blend together and look like this kind of weird flat blob cat. The other thing too was when you're drawing on white. So what I mean by that is the cat's lower half, as you can see, is supposed to be white, and you can't draw white really if the paper is already white. So I was kind of like, man, I don't know if this looks right. Is this too dark? Is this getting dirty? Because I was adding all this gray that kind of give it some more texture, just a little more shape and volume, some more values of, I don't know, the in between, the hairs and kind of where it's folding and stuff. But as we go on here in a moment, once I start working on the background, it helps when you fill in the background and you remove all of that surrounding white backdrop paper, and then all of a sudden what's supposed to be white, like the fur, really jumps out and pops, and it looks really nice. So again, I'm pretty happy about this one, and just looking at this guy, it makes me smile. You can probably hear that. That's a weird thing. You can hear when somebody's smiling. Little interesting fact, if you're ever on the phone with somebody, it might be something you can pick up on. For the background, I used more of my my own homemade graphite powder, which is just a combination of all the graphite from my clutch pencils that gets grinded down when I'm sharpening them. So is it the most high quality stuff? No, absolutely not. Does it work? Yes. And I think that's a great way to use that, because man, I go through those pencils, so I'm glad I have a way to keep using the graphite even when it's been sharpened and carved off. In drawing this background, I wanted the cat to have some kind of, I guess like a foreground and a background. I guess the midground is kind of the cat itself, actually. The original pictures, the cat is not in the grass. There's no background. It's like walking around on a deck or something. And I wanted to change it up. I wanted to give it, just put it in a totally different atmosphere. So that's where I edited in two different backdrop photos for the Photoshop picture. Was this grass, and then you'll see in the background eventually. The grass was super intimidating. Honestly, I was super scared to do it. As a kid, I think I would just scribble zigzag lines really fast, try and make grass, but I found a good technique that really works, just kind of layering from those light erased lines and then adding some shadows on them by lining them with a darker shade, and then kind of going in between and making some darker lines, and then finally doing just little bits of dark spots for some of those patches through the grass that go all the way down, like to the dirt, for instance. And I'm also super stoked on how that turned out, because I was so worried I would draw this grass and it would totally just ruin the whole image, but it looks good. And then just having bits of grass pop up in front of the cat's paws and stuff, I really think helps make this image more dynamic. It adds a little more movement, and it's not so static. That's also something I worry about, because I have done some other pet portraits, and I usually just do the head. And I was planning on doing that originally with this, but I wanted to give my client something more substantial and, again, challenge myself to try and do something bigger and more complete. So here we are going in on the background, the final background. And for this one, I wanted there to be kind of like a tree line or something. And I figured the best way to do that would to have kind of like a dark, because the cat has the light coming in from like behind it, kind of from the kind of top right, I guess, of the cat. And I thought, hey, just having like an out of focus background would be cool. And that's also not something I've done before. I haven't drawn like an out of focus looking thing before. And I again, I just kind of figured out my own technique, which was super simple, just using that moldable eraser, and just making all of these lighter circles. Again, I had a reference image for it, so that kind of helped me see where like the lighting was going. And I was lucky enough to find a reference image. I think I had to mirror it actually, but that reference image had the light coming in from the back right, the top right, and that was just perfect. And it really helps kind of illuminate the scene, kind of tells you where the light is coming from for the whole rest of the image. It's not just randomly lit like some of my other artwork is. I have a bad time focusing on where the light is in reality if it was a real image. But I'm super stoked with how this turned out. Here we are finishing it up, and as you can see, I was able to keep the background just light enough that it didn't blend in with the cat. The cat is, I almost feel like there's a bit of a 3D effect going on, and I think that has to do with the effect that the cat's kind of in and out of the grass, and I think I don't know, that wasn't expected. I didn't plan on that, and I think that's really cool. So I hope I can do more work like this in the future. I'm always open for commissions. I probably won't take a lot at once, but anyways, here it is. I hope everyone liked it. Give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment if you have any feedback or want to know anything. I'll see you next time. Bye.